Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing some more historic best of one. Today's deck is actually from another content creator. I was actually watching Ali Eldrazi the other day, and he built a really sweet deck, and I enjoyed watching it so much that I figured I'd play it and showcase it on the channel today. So, in the description down below, I'll leave a link to his channel, as well as the link to his deck list as well, because I made a few slight changes, mostly for budget reasons. He had 4 fetid pools, for example. I do not, so I switched them out for temples. I think the fetid pools are definitely more correct, because you can cycle them away. And then I swapped a Languish for a Bontu's Last Reckoning, I think. Bontu's... no, Bontu's... not collected. That one, right there. Destroy all creatures. It's pretty good, but your lands don't untap. But if minus effects aren't effective, then that's why you're going to be using it in your sideboard. It is a best of one list, so that does mean that the entire sideboard is a wish board. I'll leave it up for the duration of this deck tech portion, I suppose. But yeah, I'll leave his deck list in the description below with his channel anyway, so you can go check him out. Really good content creator. If you like my kind of content, definitely going to be into the stuff that he puts out as well on Twitch. But yes, this list is built around a saga that I do very much enjoy, but honestly, until he played it, I thought was mostly unplayable in Historic. Not because I'd played it, but because it's 5 mana. But it actually seems pretty effective in the shell, even in today's meta, so it's pretty good. 5 mana, Chapter 1, returns an instant card from your graveyard to your hand. Chapter 2, returns a sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. Chapter 3. Until end of turn, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you copy it and may choose new targets for the copy. So essentially, the way that this deck is built, it is restricted to splitting between instant and sorcery cards, which, you know, in a age of must-answer threats, you gotta find the balance between instants and sorceries. Most of the sorceries in this deck end up being board wipes, so we have a Shadow's Verdict, Yahenni's Expertise, Languish. We also have Thoughtseize and Bloodchief's Thirst as well. So we're switching like Bloodchief's Thirst and Fatal Pushes between, so that we have kind of a similar effect, but on both instants and sorceries, which is really nice. We got Drowning Locks as a one-off counterspell. There's another one in the sideboard as well. A lot of the times, this is kind of situational. You don't want it in your opening hand. There's lots of one-offs in this deck. It just makes that the Mirari's Conjecture quite a little bit more effective, though, because you get more options, essentially. That's the argument, at least. Narset can go and dig for them, Field Research can draw for them. So you should see a lot of these cards in your matchups, and if they are good, you won't be casting them just once, because the Conjecture should bring them back. Acquisition can tutor them up, things like that. So that's the argument for all of the one-ofs. It's the reason why I'm not going to go into every single card. I'm just going to say, these are removals, and they are instants or sorceries for the most part. So yeah, those are our board wipes. Our removals are Bloodchief's Thirst, Fatal Push, we got Eliminates, Heartless Axe, Moment of Cravings. Been a while since I've seen this card. I remember it being very good in Standard. It's pretty good against aggro decks as well. That's one notable thing. Drowning Lock, as we mentioned, doubles up as both a counterspell and a removal spell. Not any counterspells in this deck, really, outside of that one. There's a couple in the sideboard in Drowning Lock and Negate. But for the most part, we're probably just going to be Thoughtseizing away counter magic. And as well, control in general in Historic is not really a thing. Most of them just get shredded by Thoughtseize decks, and we're going to be doing the same thing. We don't really need counter spells for combo decks, because we're a Thoughtseize deck. That's kind of the idea, at least. When it comes to something like the big combo at the moment is like Neostorm. We should be able to react to it in a number of ways, removing their creatures beforehand, and then getting rid of maybe their copy effects, if they go for that, with like Eliminates on Dual Caster Mage, for example. Field Research is one of the interesting ones for this deck. It is actually a Divination, drawing 2 cards for 3 mana, for a sorcery as well, so it fits that balance of Mirari's Conjecture, but it also has Kicker of 3 to draw 3 cards, so if we get to the Chapter 3 on the Mirari's Conjecture, then we get to draw 6 cards, which is just absurd. So again, if you're wondering why this card is in here, it's basically to fill that balance. You have a Searcher's Canter, because we fill our graveyard quite a lot, So it's quite nice, especially the Sunken Ruin. Gets to look at the top 4 cards. Does basically Narset's -2, which is pretty good. Narset's in here because one of our win cons, I guess a win con, our opponent can't really win con, is commit to memory. The memory side makes your opponents shuffle their hand and graveyard into their library and draw 7. However, with Narset, they can only draw 1 card per turn. So we draw 7, they draw 1. We bury them in card advantage. That's the idea, at least. The way we are going to win is via the sideboard, though. So we are a Mastermind's Acquisition deck. This is technically the win con of the deck. We go outside of the game and put cards in our hand. What we want to do most of the time is wait until Chapter 3 to do that, so that we can go and grab 2 sideboard pieces. So we could do something like Ugin plus Negate, because we get up to quite high mana counts. Basically, we pick a win con and we can defend ourselves with a Drown in the Lock or Negate. That's at least the idea. You can also go into your main if, you have some effective cards as well, so we can grab 2 removal spells, a board wipe and a removal spell, something like that. You can use Henny's Expertise into a Narset, that's pretty good as well. But yeah, the actual win cons are going to be Torment Fire, a 2 black sorcery, repeat the following X times. Each opponent loses 3 life unless they sack a permanent or discard a card, so we're going to try and double that with Mirari's Conjecture, so we don't have to have too high of a mana count. That's one way to go about it. We have an Ugin the Spirit Dragon as well. Basically speaks for itself. I'm sure most of you are tired of this card, but it's a win con, alright. Got Liliana Dreadhorde General, in case our opponent has no answers really to Planeswalkers. We can tick that up to the -9, all the while producing 2/2s to beat down our opponent. If our opponent has some tasty cards in their graveyard as well, we have the Scarab God, a 5-mana 5/5 that's exceptionally hard to beat. It basically gains, loses life and scries X, where X is the number of zombies you control. It makes zombies with the 4-mana activation, stealing our opponent's creatures essentially to make 4/4 copies. And then if it only gets killed by death effects like Destroys, like Drown in the Locks and Heartless Axe and whatnot, then it will come back to our hand at the beginning of the next end step, so it's exceptionally difficult to interact with in that fashion. We should have all the mana we want. I actually don't know why Gonti's in here. I think he's in here as a meme. I don't remember when I was watching Ali play this deck whether or not Gonti actually had a specific usage, because he doesn't really synergize with the general game plan. But I guess he's just fun. Steal your opponent's win con, maybe. I don't know, but he's in here anyway. Sorcerer's Spyglass names pretty much anything we don't like. Grafdigger's Cage hits a lot of combo decks, and really hates on Uro. Uro's not really too much of a problem when you've got a Narset down that you can protect, though. And there's another Thoughtseize in here. It's not really something that you're just going to acquisition into Thoughtseize. You're probably going to use this as a Chapter 3 acquisition, so you can Thoughtseize your opponent to then dump your win con. That's probably the idea behind that card. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck. As I said, links down in the description to Ali's channel. Go check him out. He's a great streamer, and he's really fun to watch. Makes content quite similar to mine, but he's more handsome, so, his content's better. Anyway, guys, if you do enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. You know the drill, and let's get to it. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Okay then, we're on the draw, and seems like a fine hand. In a control mirror, search for a Scanter's pretty good. In a creature-based deck, Heartless Act and Contempts should also be pretty reasonable, and the mana base is fine as well, so not much reason to mull this, I don't think. We'll have to see. Thoughtseize, rip as Canter, presumably. Could go for the Heartless Act if they want to be aggressive and keep their mana dorks and whatnot, maybe. It's got to be one of these two, though. Definitely isn't Contempt, I'll say that much. Okay, there's an opt. Does that mean turn 1 opt? Yeah, probably not. I don't know if I'll need Heartless Act with them Thought Seizing Citrus counter necessarily, so just dump the extra land, pass the turn. Now we can act, or we can tap land opt, depending on what our opponent does here. Sultai. Alright. Into the Royal. So they are an Uro deck, essentially, so the Into the Royal is pretty good for that. I doubt I'm going to be killing anything next turn if they are just going to go for an Uro, so I'll just opt here and then play a land drop. I'm opting first, just in case maybe I bottom into a Temple of Deceit. Growth Spiral, wasn't going to stop that, we have no counter magic. Fatal Push. I'm going to bottom that. Got 3 removal spells and a bounce spell. Can't imagine we need much more than that. I'm actually going to play the island for the opt then. Based on that draw. With double contempt, like paying the 2 on the watery grave is kind of just... It's kind of just whatever. There's Uro. There goes Uro. Alright, let's have a look. Fabled Passage. I think we'll bottom that again. Mastermind's Acquisition. I'm sure that will be quite useful. We do have access to a sideboard. So, who knows what we'll need, to be honest. They might be going Land Chandra here. I don't think they've got enough. Nope. Not enough in the graveyard for the Uro just yet. Hydroid Crisis. Do I remove its counters? I guess I could, yeah. Might be a bit aggressive to be doing that. I don't know if they thought that, like, it was immune to Heartless Act or not, but it sure as hell isn't. And I'm shocking in now because Vraska's Contempt should be pretty useful. Yep, help yourself. Take the Mastermind's Acquisition, maybe. All of these are hard Uro answers, so... Who knows? Yeah, holding up the Contempt, basically, for Nissa. So I'm pretty sure this list should be running it. Takes the Mastermind's Acquisition. Does that put instants and sorceries in our yard? Yep, so Mirari Conjecture is now a good draw. Opponent has assisted in that. Shadow's Verdict. Alright. We'll just go tap land, go. They need another blue source to escape Uro here. They do have the cards in the graveyard to do it. I think with a hand like this, I'm not in any rush to just Shadow's Verdict to kill an Uro in a graveyard. I could probably do better. Hit Nissa lands and all sorts. Oh no, at least get a 2-for-1 with it. I guess it kind of is a 2-for-1, but not really. There's Nissa. So we are going to contempt that when we get priority. Which means that, you know, they probably only want to do what they're doing if they have a Thoughtseize in hand, and, you know, because they can as well. I'm just going to make sure that this doesn't produce 2 mana. Temple. Field Research. We can kick it to draw 3, but that's our entire turn. I actually kind of think we bottom, because we're digging for Mirari Conjecture at this point. And if I went with the Verdict, I'd eat one of their lands and their Uro out the yard. Yeah, go for it. Means that Uro from hand doesn't have the pieces on its own to just fill the graveyard. They'll need a little bit more assistance. Wow, we managed to tap them out. Alright, this Into the Royal needs to draw a card, but that shouldn't be difficult. Opponent did literally just do nothing for a turn, so that's pretty great. I don't think they're a counterspell deck. So yeah, I expected that to resolve. Probably expect it to die. Yep. I could bounce my own Narset. What am I really playing against? Yeah, sure. Now, if they have another eliminate, that's fine. I still get my Narset trigger. Yeah, this can be kind of heavily punished, so I get my draw there. Ooh, nah, a Thought Seize is nice. Drown in the Lock and Mastermind's Acquisition. I'll take a drown. So they get a turn here where they can do some nonsense. Like, I've got plenty to do here. As a follow-up to whatever they play, I don't think we can really be punished for tapping out. Uro is fine. Yeah, because that's basically all they're going to do. So let's Thought Seize them. Red or green, so they've got a dead card in hand. They do have a Tail's End for my Narset, and a Maelstrom Pulse as well. Do I just take the Tail's End? Do I care? I'm not sure how much I care about any of this. Like, I could just not play anything. We'll take the Tail's End. We'll go with the Narset. It means that they have to Sorcery Spell Maelstrom Pulse the Narset if they want to answer it, and I could just get another one. Maelstrom Pulse for them means that they're doing nothing next turn. If I wanted to drown in the locket, I'll just grab another Narset though. It seems to be a big problem point for them. So they got 8 cards, which means if they play a Nissa, which is probably the most aggressive play they can make here, we have the counterspell already. Honestly, with Narset just being another draw one, I'm not even sure if I've used my Drown and Lock to protect it since I've got the second. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily worth it.
My mind needs a rest.
Temple of Deceit. Do we want to do that before or after the Narset? We'll do it after the Narset, I think. We'll draw a lovely card, and then we'll figure out what we want after that. Another Narset. I might just take Field Research, to be honest. It's a nice card to have in the yard for Mirari Conjecture, which we should be due to find at some point this year. Okay, pass the turn. So they can bring back a do-nothing Uro if they really want to, and then I can remove it from existence. In a number of ways, actually. Like with Narset out, blinking it with Kicker might actually be the best move, because then it just re-enters as a 3-mana thing, doesn't draw them a card, and doesn't put a land into play, so it's kind of really bad for them. Ooh, Arch is nice. That's the City's Blessing. I mean, neither of these hit Uro, so really all they're going to do is hit like Nissa lands. So I should just take the Yeheni's Expertise, because then I can play 3-drops off of it. I'm going to go with a kicked Field Research here. There's a Fetid Pools. Can only cycle it. Played my land drop already, apparently. Alright, pass the turn then. We're at 32 cards, halfway through our deck, and we haven't found a Conjecture. But I honestly don't think we're in a bad position at all anyway, so... really don't mind too much. We'll cycle this Fetid Pools. Alright, land for a land. And pass the turn. Draw with Arch Verasker, I guess. Thought Seize. Yep, help yourself. If they want to take Drown, so be it. It's like I cast it without paying its mana cost. If they take literally anything else, I've got alternatives. So yeah, just wasn't worth it for them. Hey, look at that. The only reason it'd be worth it is if they've got counter magic for this Mirari's Conjecture, and now we don't have the Drown for it to protect it. But we do have a Thoughtseize. Do we want to play the Thoughtseize? I don't know what this card is. It's definitely not a Thoughtseize, though. It's another Uro. I mean, these cards are just, without a doubt, dead cards. So, like, I'll just put an Uro in their graveyard. I really don't care. Alright, let's start with, I think, a Drown in the Lock. Tap land, say go. Now we have Drown plus Blink plus Vraska's Contempt. Whatever combination of cards we want to use here is pretty good. Mirari's Conjecture is going to go get Mastermind's Acquisition so we can win the game. We are just going to draw to hand size here, I think. Oh, discard to hand size, should I say. So all of these cards really just don't matter. And then opponent's going to pass. We will draw a card. Probably not going to use the card that we draw, but you never know, right? Alright. To the sideboard. How do we want to win, chat? How do we want to win? Commit to Memory's pretty funny. You can just do an Ugin the Spirit Dragon, I suppose, as well. That needs protecting a little bit, though. I guess we could do, like, Ugin plus Drown in the Lock. Or Thought Distortion. Eat their entire hand, but their hand is terrible anyway. Yeah, I think it's like Ugin the Spirit Dragon and Drown in the Lock. Or maybe Negate. Maybe Drown in the Lock, maybe Negate. This one doesn't care about the graveyard, essentially. But I think Drown in the Lock's just fine. Alright. And then just pass the turn. So we got Ugin plus double counters. I can't see how we really fail this one. It's Henny's expertise, I guess. So we got 4 plus 2 plus 2. We should be ulting Ugin here. So pathway on black. Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Double counter backup. And then just start ticking up.
My flames burn beyond perception.
It would have been more fun to go for Scarab God, but they don't really have any options for us. Like, Uro just, like, we turn it into a 4/4 and then it dies. Which is, it's amusing, but it doesn't exactly get us there. And, you know, Extinction Event can kind of deal with it. Okay, so they are going to Uro. We are going to say, yep, that's fine, because they don't draw a card off of it. And then I can blink it. Another Uro. Yep. They put the wrong one into the graveyard. But I think that they are, yeah, basically admitting defeat. So, like, if they do play the Uro again, it does kind of make our Drown in the Locks a little bit worse, I suppose, which is the argument for Negate. But we can fill it back up by Thought Seizing them and maybe even eliminating our own Narset, who knows. But, you know, we're one tick up away from Ugin's ult. At that point, we're just waiting for another Mirari's Conjecture, and then we get to the Mastermind's Acquisition, to commit to Memory to stop us from decking ourselves if we really want to. Also kind of shuts them off. We could have gone with commit to memory on that previous one, because Narset being in play draws us 7, leaves them with 1 card, but because they've got 3 dead cards already in their hand and an unknown, they're already at that 1 card, so it doesn't really change anything. It just turns potentially this 1 card into a better other card. And these arrows are just not a problem. Again, because Narset's around. If they play him, we blink them, because it does nothing entering, same as it does escaping. So, yeah. Pretty much a dominant matchup there. It's pretty nice to see it. Absolutely Raffle Stomp, one of the better decks in the format. I don't know if it's the best deck. It's pretty good, though. I mean, it's Uro, Nissa, Hydroid Crisis. Lots and lots of degenerate cards. Even Thoughtseize, probably the most played card in Historic. Lots of good stuff either way, and yeah, made short work of it. Good stuff. Next game. Opponent goes first. We have turn 1 Opt. After that, we have to hope that these board wipes are good. I don't like it, but I really don't like it now. I don't think these board wipes are going to be good. Esper. I'm going to go ahead and assume that it's control, which means Thoughtseize is probably pretty decent. Heartless Act. Another Temple. Next turn, I think I'm just Thoughtseizing. So Temple just means 4 lands for, like, Mastermind's acquisition. I mean, it's not necessarily that great. But, you know, I don't know if I'm in any rush either to necessarily Thoughtseize them. That's pretty good, because that gets rid of Teferis if they are running that kind of thing. I probably should have Thoughtseized before the Temple, just so that I had more information as to what's a good card here. I think they're Esper control. I really honestly don't know. It's hard seeing how this card is bad. Let's see if it's bad. What on earth? Okay. Well, the Bloodchief Thirst is pretty good at killing Narset, I suppose. There's an Omniscience in here. Are they like Esper Flood of Tears or something? Genuinely don't know what you take here. I think I'll take the Narset and just kill the other one. One of redraws. Maybe the Lich's Mastery as well. Who knows? That would explain the Revitalizes. They pretty much don't see playing anything other than that. Thoughtseize for me. Luckily for me, the answer to their Narset is on top of my deck. So, Mastermind's Acquisition's my win con. Mirari's Conjecture gets back my win con. So I'm pretty sure Conjecture's actually the play. You don't really want to fill up my graveyard full of targets for Mirari's Conjecture, but opponent disagrees. Grab a Swamp, I suppose. Kill Narset.
This was overwhelming.
We do draw a lot of cards, so it's important to get it off the table. If they're Flood of Tears, then keeping Narsets around, probably not great either. So now we have Opt as our instant, Mastermind as our sorcery. They're going to go into the sideboard, which could be pretty spooky. Could be a hate card, could be a win con. Either way, it would be nice to have Drown in the Lock off of a top deck here, but lots of one-ofs in this deck, so we'll have to see. We could do, like, land, Narset, Drown, or something like that, who knows. So they grabbed a hate piece. I doubt I can react to it, so I'm just going to play down my Conjecture and work on my win con instead. It's going to be a Dream Trawler. So, my plan is to get to 8 mana by the looks of things. I'm going to go for the Mastermind's Acquisition here. My Chapter 3 is actually looking like Yahenni's expertise doubled. Or Languish doubled, either way. I'm going to Heartless Act the Dream Trawler here and hope that this isn't counter spell. I guess I'll do it on the upkeep just in case, because it's kind of important that it resolves. I'm going to go with an Opt right now. Eliminate. Answer's Narset, but other than that, I don't think it's worth my time. So, on their upkeep, kill the Dream Trawler. In response, they'll discard Fatal Push to tap it. Yeah. So they don't get the card draw off of it. The only issue that we have is that I don't have 8 mana. That's basically the issue. I think they Masterminds for Dream Trawler here. Seems like a pretty impactful card to grab. And go outside the game for another card. I'm just looking at a possible card that answers Dream Trawler off of Mastermind's Acquisition. I guess Cry of the Carnarium is a -6/-6. Heliod's Intervention, okay. So 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 turns off of Omniscience. We have an Into the Royal. I could bounce it. 2, 3, 4. Would I want to bounce it with card draw? Probably not, because they're just going to dump their Omniscience, presumably. So what is Acquisition grabbing? Is it grabbing another Conjecture? I think it might be. Could grab an Ugin, I suppose. 3, 6, this would be 7. I just need a land drop to do that. Probably win with an Ugin. So let's just upkeep, stop them, and bounce with Into the Royal. Again, if they want to tap, so be it. They'll leave a Dream Trawler tapped in play with 1 card in hand, which has to be an answer to Ugin, otherwise I just -6 it. Which is easy. I'd love for them to take their entire turn just replaying it as well. Just means my Ugin resolves. Yeah. Oh god, no, because we missed our land drop, didn't we? Oh, bugger. Yeah. I was like, yeah, we just need a land drop and it'll be fine. Well, it's a Vraska's Contempt. And then we've got the Ugin. Alright. Sure. Much better. God, brain fart moment right there. I just made a whole line of plays and then skipped a couple of steps. That's how we roll, baby. That's how we roll. So Drowned and Lock is fine. Means that they can't answer Ugin. They do get 1 hit in here and they get to draw a card, so these 2 cards have to be the answer to Ugin. If they have that, then they win, I guess. It's hard to see how they don't from that point. Dovin's a massive cutie. Alright. See if they want to bounce it. No! Come on! Ugh! Alright, well, silver lining, chat. Dream Trawler's out the way. Silver lining. Goodbye, Dream Trawler. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're all on top deck mode. I have an arch, though. I'm going to go for the arch now. I'm sure there's probably something I could draw that's useful. Let's opt. Yeah. I don't really want it in hand. I'd rather it be on top, just in case our opponent top decks Thoughtseize, but if they don't, it's pretty good. I think I'm going to try and slam this down. Alright. From here, let's go with an Into the Royal, I think. Thirst for Meaning. Into the Royal allows me to protect the Mirari's Conjecture. Dumps 2 Wraths. It's pretty good. We've got Lockthwain. Theirs is slightly more painful as a answer. Or a equal-natured answer to the Arch of Araska. Alright, Sorcery, we're gonna get... I think it's gotta be Mastermind's Acquisition. Could even be Field Research. Like, Thoughtseizing their hand is pretty good, but double Mastermind's Acquisition is better. Oop. Let's go with Arch. Looking for Drown in the Lock. Narset's also pretty good. Means their Acuity combo will not work. Oh, that's a tough one. So we're getting a Chapter 3 on Conjecture, presumably. Which means I Acquisition. I could get Field Research, which allows me to draw 6 cards, as we've established already. Or I could just go for the other Conjecture. It is the last one as well, for the record. I'm going for the win, so I really don't know which one's the better card here. I think I'll go with the Conjecture. I'm slightly torn on that. So, if they want to do any Acuity shenanigans, they've got to answer Narset first. What are we going for our sideboard? Could do a Commit to Memory with Narset out, that's pretty good. Actually leaves them empty-handed because of the nature of double triggers if we can get both into the graveyard. I actually don't think we can, but the thought's there. Alright. Let's see what the last card is. It's Field Research. We keep talking about it. So maybe we go for it. Yeah, I mean the rest don't seem all that fantastic. So then we'll go... We're not going to use Arch on this turn. We'll go into the sideboard. Get 2 sideboard options. One could be Thought Distortion, actually. Almost certainly eats their entire hand. It's 6 mana. 2, 4, 6. And then I could go for a... I don't know what the other one grabs. Probably Commit to Memory. It's pretty brutal, right? Drown in the Lock, I'm 1 mana short of using, but it is nice. Also, it eats their graveyard with Thought Distortion, though, so I'd rather have the negate. I might just go for the memory, it's because it's fun. Alright. So, let's just do Thought Distortion. I have a hard time seeing how this doesn't eat their entire hand. Maybe they've got Dream Trawler. Yeah, it just leaves them with some land drops. That's fine with me. My hand's pretty full, so I don't care about doubled Field Research. Methinks, chat, that they be dead. So we go Mirari's Conjecture. We'll take... At this point, I'll just take an opt. I think my game plan is to commit to memory them. So I just plan on committing whatever top deck they have here. And I'll save my Mastermind's acquisition. I'll just opt now, I guess. Maybe we'll find the Drown in the Lock. Still hits counter unless you pay 1, so like opts are okay. It's not that great, but you know. Let's put that to the bottom. We've got 27 cards left. We're only halfway through our deck. Scrybug, by the way. Yeah, let's just pass the turn. I'm wondering if we can go for a really cool win con, though, because, like, commit to memory keeping their hand empty is pretty fun and all. But we could do, like, Torment of Hailfire. It's also pretty fun. Alright, and then we will into the Royal their Dovin's Acuity. Why? Because we're going to shuffle back into their deck. It's also a dead card, so if they redraw it, fantastic. Masterminds? I think it's Masterminds. Yeah, let's take another Masterminds. We'll do maybe like one from the main, one from the sides. Who knows? I mean, at this point, I don't even have to memory. So let's just go sideboard. We'll go grab Torment of Hailfire. Yoink. This one, we'll go grab Negate. Yoink. And then we'll hold up a Negate. Pass the turn here. We're gonna double up a Torment of Hailfire with Negate backup. I think that's the plan. They're kind of helping us along with the Castle Lochthwain, which is nice. Narset, we don't care.
If you wish to surrender now, I have just the trick for this.
We sort of care, but at the same time, we really don't. The only reason we'd care is if one of these is a counter and they get another counter. Dovin's Acute is really bad. They need an answer to Narset before that's a good card. Let's go with an opt, try and find an extra land, I suppose. There it is. Alright. Pay to life. QQ. Let's see. 4, 10, 11. Yup. Let's go. I counted it all. I meant to count it -2 so we could negate. But I think drawing a card there doesn't really do them any favors. So we get a Torment of Hailfire X22. Which makes them lose 3 life unless they sack a permanent or discard a card. They only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sackables. So, pretty far to go. Yeah, again, I skipped a step in my brilliant master plan. That just goes to show what we're about today. We're about that cool stuff, yeah. It's a shame they didn't play it out and we watched their health slowly descend into madness, but, you know, I think this kind of explains itself. Even the game's like, wow! Wow! Ready for mobile, everybody. Let's go for the next game. Opponent goes first with a Kahira the Orphan Guard list. What does this usually mean? It used to mean Bant Control, which this hand is not very good against. It could also be an artifact list, which this hand is not very good against. If it's Cat Tribal, or any of this, like, tribal decks, this hand's great, but I think I've gotta, yeah, go for a hand like this so I can attack Planeswalkers and counter spells. I think that's just more important. I think it's got to be Mirari Conjecture. I cannot prove that yeah, Henny's Expertise is a bad card here. So I'm going to have to go for it. It looks like it's going to be the Artifact Tribal list. Which means got a lot of sketchy cards in this matchup. Honestly, it's hard to win this deck against this deck. Because they've got Ulamogs and things like that. Or maybe it's... I don't know. Maybe it's a white artifact deck. I'm still not ruling it out, to be honest. Solemnity 9 lives. Okay. What does this deck do against me? Anything? I actually don't... I don't know if it does anything. Like, my win cons in the sideboard for this one are going to be... Torment of Hailfire. Which makes them lose life or sack permanents, so that's what I'm going to do. I can also deck them as well, I suppose. Right, what am I actually doing? I think I'm just going to... Let's have a look at their hand. Just make sure there's nothing nasty in there that can win them the game. Like, I don't care about any of these, right? I guess Solemnity does shut off Mirari's Conjecture. So there's that. I'll let them take a turn to Idyllic Tutor, I suppose. And then we'll pass. Yeah, they're going to need a little bit more than this to win. Usually I see them doing, like, Immortal Sun shenanigans to shut off Planeswalkers and just generally hating on things. So that is a Rest in Peace to attack my graveyard. So, Solemnity already shuts down Mirari's Conjecture. So, like... Do I care about my graveyard anymore? Not really. I'll just drop a Liliana and win with that, I guess. That might be the plan. So what am I grabbing from the sideboard? I guess my Drowning Locks are dead because of Rest in Peace, so maybe I should have just used a Drowning Lock there since it's still just dead now. I just don't know. Maybe I get an Ugin at some point. Let's go into my sideboard. Let's have a look. I mean, this is one of the win cons. We have another Mastermind's Acquisition to go get it if we want. Loses 3 life unless they sack a permanent or a non-land or discard. So we just get to a lot of mana when we use that. Liliana is a win con that I could put down, but I can't protect. They can go for an Idyllic Tutor to answer it, I suppose. But I guess, actually no, we want to just go Ugin. We want a -3. I don't know why I'm actually really just umming and ahhing about that. I've played 9 lives enough to know that this card absolutely wrecks Solemnity 9 lives. Just put Kahira in the hand, gone into the Royal, which we can respond to certain things with. This allows us to bounce Immortal Sun, I guess. I'm gonna play Kahira. It just puts all my removal online, so I don't really care. And eliminate. Part of me wants to into the Royal it, just so that I can draw a card and make a land drop, since this is just my win con, but at the same time, there's no real reason. I'll just eliminate it with all my cards open here. Yeah, be a bit mana efficient, I suppose. Grab a swamp. I'll just use my floating mana now. And now I've got into the Royal with Kicker open as well. Another Field of Ruin. So eventually those will be strip mines, unfortunately. If they've got the full play set.
I have practiced against many boys like you.
What do we want to find here?
With thoughtfulness before action.
Probably the Opt. The Opt gets us towards lands. Lands are important. Thoughtseize, they've only got one unknown and a idyllic tutor. They haven't been using their idyllic tutor, which suggests that they don't have anything interesting to grab, so I'll just go grab a land instead. Sweet. Island, and pass. Cool, cool, cool. 2 lands away from an Ugin -3 for the win. Guess a Field of Ruining again. Got nothing to float, so I won't bother. Actually, they're going for an Arch Draw. Okay. Also fine. I would imagine their win con is going to be Approach of the Second Sun. Which is definitely a reasonable way to win. It's going to be Dawn of Hope. Again, not too fussed about that. Just holding this for Immortal Sun so we can win on the same turn. Another land, fantastic. So we're at 7 now, we just need 1 more land. It's a shame we don't have any double face cards for Narsa, actually, because she could hit a land drop for us. It would be a tap land, but... Oh, would it be a tap land? You could use the blue one. Seagate Restoration. I'll take Blink of an Eye. I'll 100% use one of these with Kicker just to draw a card and potentially hit the land drop we need to win on the spot. Do I use it now? I guess I use it now. Since they're making me float mana and fetch a basic out. I'll just use it now. Get rid of... Really don't matter. We'll get rid of Dawn of Hope. Stop me making tokens. Still have 1 Royal with Kicker anyway. And there's Drowned Catacomb. Alright, so we literally only have to stop them from preventing Ugin. So if they have like Gideon's Intervention, we just bounce it. Sorcerer's Spyglass, we just bounce it. They have to have 2 answers to Ugin now. And somehow, I think that's unlikely to happen. I guess they could have... Angel, the artifact 7-drop. But I can answer that again. So, yeah, it's just... Play land, play the Ugin, -3. Win the game. GG. Yep. Cool. This deck just folds so hard to Ugin that it needs an answer to it, so like Gideon's Intervention are really the only things that they have, and Spyglass as well, I suppose. And yeah, if they don't find the answer to Ugin, it's just game over. A lot of the time when I was doing 9 lives, I had it in a prison deck where Intervention was my option. Also, anything that says lose life on it is also incredibly painful. So, yeah, this deck is a hard counter to a lot of decks, but folds so hard to so many others. It's pretty cool, but also pretty bad at the same time. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe as well for more content like this in the future. And without further ado, gonna end it off here. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful night.